Good morning. We are here. It is a crisp 6:55, 6:56 in the morning. And we are going to be breaking down my new song Hearts today. It just came out on Thursday, and I think a lot of people kind of know it by now because I've teased it so much. And that was the first one off the EP that I think I made. So it's been around for a minute. I made it back in maybe November or December of last year. And I made the whole thing in a day, which was kind of crazy. So yeah, it's definitely more of a simpler one. I mean, we have 82 channels. That's fucking nothing. So I'll play through the intro and the first drop, and then yeah, you'll kind of have the idea of it. Yeah. And then basically after that, it's just a bridge and then into another build, and the vocals kind of change, and that's it. So, I think I might have basically for the songwriting process, let's just start with the intro stuff. Actually, no, let's start with the drop. I feel like people are more interested in just hearing about the drop right off the bat. So we'll go through that. That's what I did for the last one. So there's a little glitch thing, which I made. Maybe in another sound design video, I'll kind of go through how I make these, because they're super simple and fun, and you just get a lot of random shit. So yeah, but yeah, unfortunately, that's made another session. Let's see. We have a bunch of these laser things. These are just normal things. Let's start with the main bass. Where is it? I believe it is this. That's the sustain thing. Oh, this is it. It's just deactivated. Oh, but I got fucking... Did it get changed? Because... Yeah, so the main bass, I guess, might have gotten changed a little since the second drop bass. Yeah, it's right here. But, you can still, hear it. I think it's, basically the same. I wonder how I'm changing the pitch of that. I don't know. So this is the patch for the main bass. I probably barely changed it for the second drop, but the basic idea is just a sine wave and then distorting like a 16 voice saw wave through it, and like putting some resonance on oscillator B. So you're just crunching like this high like pitch signal. You know, that's just like basically just a fucking like saw wave synth, simple, like, but then you just crunch it with like this distortion mostly. There's this hyper that I think gives it that like detune feel. Yeah, that's part of it. There's this EQ, which I think also does a lot for like the vowelliness of it. Yeah, definitely. That gives it the very like talky sound, I would say. And then I think this this low pass kind of just is like opening up the high end on that LFO. So yeah, it sounds a little more like tamed and like better dynamics in the high end. Looks like this rhythm shifter isn't doing anything. Just a little phaser action. Kind of a growly. Just to like, I don't know, yeah, add some sauce on it. Give it a little, just, you know, add to the character and the tonality of it. There's this vocoder parallel, so this is on noise. I find this really helpful for like guns, when you have a signal that doesn't have a lot like in it. Yeah, you know, like that just sounds it just sounds like something's missing. So then you put this on top of it, and that's like a super messy thing, but I don't know. Yeah, it seems to work really well. Here's some more like detuning action. This is like a fully stereo ensemble layer. Like so like insanely detuned. I actually need to start doing that again because that sound is really cool. Kind of reminds me of like Spaghetti. If you know like Brown Bread by Spaghetti, you're an OG. And like not even that much of an OG. That song is like, I don't know. Is that song like 2017 or 18? Let's see. Yeah, the nice thing is this song is definitely a lot more simple compared to Head Splitter. So I'll mostly just talk about like and like how I was able to make it in like a day. And kind of more like the songwriting arrangement, like parts of it, for if you're trying to make a drop, and how to kind of go about that like fast, because that's what I was able to do with this. And I really didn't like overcomplicate it with this one. You know, I didn't try and go some completely different place with the second drop. You know, I just changed kind of the melody and a little bit of the arrangement. But yeah, this patch is super simple. There's just like some EQing stuff, the classic like Fat Rack, OTT. Nothing crazy, man. I mean, let me see. I'll delete this rhythm shifter and saturator and turn all this off and see. Yeah, so that's the patch without all the posts. So it was really about like creating that like detuned feel and just making some vowels and distortion and makes it crunchy. And then I resampled it. So now this is gonna sound different because we're in the first drop. But basically, I had this patch. I might have changed like the semitones of like of this and the cutoff of the filter to just get a different like tone, because the tone of this is just, yeah, it's just different. But yeah, I just resampled it into here. Did a bunch of EQing, so took off like the high end, which I'm pretty sure like the intention there is really to like allow room for the percussion, like the hats and the cymbals. You don't need a ton of high end in your basses, but you know, it's kind of up to personal preference. If you want to do a song where your basses do have a bunch of high end and also your cymbals have a bunch of high end and it just sounds like they kind of blend together, like it's gonna sound full, it's fine. But like the thing that like Zomboy is really good about is like cutting out a space for like all of those elements. So I feel like he like low passes his basses a little bit, kind of like this, only up to like, you know, 8 or 9K, and then those hi-hats can really come through and it just sounds like an insanely good mix down. I feel like he's good at that. So yeah, resampled it to here. Looks like I'm doing some mid-side EQing. So I'm boosting the mono signal at these frequencies. I'm just doing that stuff like by ear because it's just really just whatever I think it needs. I'm just like listening and being like, needs more mono. Yeah, so there's another kind of like sides layer. Very just adding space and fullness. It kind of makes it sound like it's like just in some kind of like room, yeah. Just cathedral vibes. Definitely makes it sound like stadium big. Yeah. It's a lot of like, I mean, you can see I'm like taking down these and boosting this. So I'm really trying to emphasize like the 1K like reverb sound, which I think gives it that. I think it gives it that stadium feel. We have some more EQing. I'm boosting the mono again, like it's fucking psychopath. Like, kind of need to chill. I guess I was like boosting the mono a lot because I had the sound design of this bass creates a lot of stereo. Like you have the 16 voices, then you have the hyper dimension. Then I have like the ensemble layer, and then I have like the reverb layer. So I'm just trying to like make sure that the mono like stays with us by like turning it up. This is like in a super like subtle delay. Yeah, it's off by 166. So, and then filtered a bit. So it's at 7% though, so it's insanely quiet. But love to add those little accents. I guess I turned it up a bit, and then I fucking boosted the stereo volume, and I turned down the stereo here at this frequency. So I don't know. I'm just doing a bunch of stuff like with my ears, and looks like I have this rhythm shifter doing the pitch to kind of make it sound like it's just notes. So there's that, and then we have a bunch of no, we actually don't. We just have it right here. So this is just like a reverb throw rack. I keep forgetting to put this in the description of my videos, but I definitely want to. I love this rack. It's just like reverb with the OTT after it. I've probably gone over it before. So that's the main bass. And then the thing that was like obviously huge, that's gonna basically carry your main bass, is the sub. And the sub actually was kind of weird for this one. I like made a mistake, but it turned out to sound kind of cool. So that's it with the sub. It's all like the classic processing that I've talked about a bunch of times, just like bass on 40 saturator. But the weird thing about this sub is basically I've definitely talked about this before, but I have like my main first harmonic kind of oscillator, and then I have my second one, which is a third harmonic, and I'm kind of mixing that in with volume. But I forgot, so I have this pitch envelope right here on the first oscillator, and I forgot to put it on the second oscillator. So if you think about it, like our main sine wave is like pitching down in this like envelope, but then the second one isn't. So they're just gonna like fuck each other up. Like they're not gonna be in sync, you know, pitch wise at times. But but it kind of sounded cool. Like it kind of created like a mud and like just some messiness. And I don't even really know if you can like see that. Like that's not pitching or anything, and then this one is. So if I turn them both up, yeah, it just creates like some messiness right in those first, few milliseconds. I mean, then you can really hear it when I slow it down. It just creates like total like dissonance between the harmonics. So that was an interesting thing. I like didn't even realize I accidentally did that till I like basically finished the song. So sometimes that stuff happens, and I just like kept it that way because I was like, if it sounds good, it sounds good, So yeah, it's very subtle too, but I saved this sub because I thought the sub just turned out really good. I liked how it was in the song, so I like saved it as a preset. I didn't even realize it's totally kind of like messed up. But yeah, this song is like very crunchy, so let's talk about maybe just what level the sub is hitting. Yeah, it's a little above 0. So, and there's no clipping or anything happening on this master. There might be, nope. Yeah, so we're not clipping anywhere. Ableton is just clipping it, basically. Which I don't even know how that works, to be honest. I think Mr. Bill has like a sick video explaining how that actually works. But all I know is that like Ableton will clip it when you export it at 16. So it's fine. If it sounds good, it sounds good, So yeah, the sub is loud. I think this already just has like the crunch from the initial sound design. Yeah. Like you can see like how the sine wave has just been like pushed through the signal to make it crunchy like that. It's a very like growly waveform. It's not really exactly like smooth by any means. So that's kind of where the crunch comes from. Let's go over this sustain thing. This is a sine wave, like basically a sub with noise, and then there's a band pass making the noise very peaky on a note. So that's interesting. Pretty simple, and these aren't doing anything. Yeah, I think I was just messing around with like trying to get something to sound good. Super simple though. You could do like the same, like this is basically the same thing as like that. Yeah, it's the same thing as having just another sine wave. Like basically this peak on the noise is making it so it just sounds like a sine wave that's up 3 octaves from, or 6 octaves from the sub. How is that? How that works? Yeah, because it's down 3, this is up 3. I don't know. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Then we have, I think this is the main bass resampled, but up an octave. It is, yes. So that's one layer. And then this is the main bass resampled down an octave. And that's all the layers. Like this is a quarter note song, and that is like all the layers. I didn't do anything like crazy. I just resampled the main bass, put it up an octave and then down an octave, and it just fills it out, makes it sound full, and then you just EQ it to your liking to give everything a place. And I guess there's this. So this is kind of like a crunch that's like up. It's basically like sidechained by this space manually, if you think about it. So yeah, I mean, this is, you're seeing now I was able to make this song in a day. I had the idea for the flow. That's like, you know, downbeat, and then like, yeah, downbeat and then offbeat, take away the shit, and then just have it smack on the snare. And make it so it's like 1, 2, 3, switch, 1, 2, 3, switch. So, and this bass is just same bass on a fifth. So, yeah. This is some background thing that I made probably 3 years ago that I still use. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I should use new sounds, but like, I think I just like writing too much to make like new sounds like this, like new background stuff, or I'll just like make it in the project and then save it later. So this is the drop. It just turned out really good with like the mixing and stuff. Let's go through this ozone real quick, just to see how loud I made everything. So I have like 4 bands, I believe. Yeah, first one is from 0 to 100, and then 100 to 500, and then 500 to 3K. So this is kind of how I measure stuff in terms of like width. So yeah, there's like even a little bias in the high end, like to the left. You can see that in the volume right here too. So yeah, this signal is pretty wide. High end is super wide. Sorry. Then we have some more mono come in. Yeah, the stereo is just like really interesting. It's not the most tamed stereo, and we're still like pretty wide in the 100 to 500. So yeah, it's mostly just that frequency that's like, yeah, from like 300 to 100, it's like much more centered and like looks good. There you go. Am I doing any pitch bending on the sub? No. Yeah. This one is so simple. I feel like it's just like a good jam, you know? It's just like a good dubstep song, and it's quarter notes, and it's like mixed well, and it has that push and pull with the intro elements, and that's what I like about it. Let's like talk about the arrangement of the song, to kind of like transition to talking about the synths. So how does this angle look? Yeah, cool. So let me see. Should I set, okay. I'm going to set like things here. So this is the drop, and then this is like the phrasing of the basses, and I kind of think of that as just like, yeah, dubstep part, and then we go back, bring back intro, and then like this is a fill, and like, and then that just repeats again 3 times. And that just repeats 4 times. And like you think of this one, like this section right here, like that variation is that long. What is that, 3 bars? No, I don't know, guys, I don't know. It's like 3.5, I don't know. It's too early for me to fucking say how long this actually is. Fucking, will it tell me? I'm sorry. But you get the idea. This end of the first 4 bars is like half a bar. I'm pretty sure that's a half note. And then for the one after that, it's double the length. So it's like when you're completing an 8-bar section, I try to make the last like variation the longest. That's like generally how I've seen like songs written. Not really as much nowadays with dubstep, in my evaluation of things, but in brostep, which is like the main thing I like to reference for writing songs, yes. So let's call this like variation 1, and then this will be variation 2. It's probably like a really bad way to explain like how like songwriting works. Like it'd be better to do it with like colors and shit, in like a empty project. But like, yeah. And then phrase comes back again in the next 4 bars. So half note 1 and then full bar. And that will be like the basis of how you will do all of the transitions that happen in the drop. Like, except for this one, I guess, because the pattern was just different. So let's talk about, I don't know. Hopefully this makes sense. I'm really sorry if it doesn't. I feel like that was like a shit way of explaining that. But like for this song, that is how I wrote the sections. So yeah, I feel like that's somewhat reasonable to look at. You know, next 4 bars. So, yeah. And instead of, so this is a 16-bar drop. So for the next 8 bars, instead of doing like the same pattern, but maybe changing like the basses and stuff, I don't know. I feel like I'm just really ADHD, and it's cool when it does like a switch. So I just totally switched it, made another bass. It's the same bass. It's just like same bass, new pattern, and kind of a new flow because. Well, no, not really. It's still like the same length with like fills. Should I have fucking brought these chords back here and I just like didn't? Like, how does that sound? Did I do that on purpose? Oh yeah, I did. Because there's basses here, so that makes sense. So instead, in this section, I use the basses to make that transition after the first 4 bars of the phrase. If you're like familiar with bars and stuff, pretty much everything that I've said so far I feel like makes sense. But if you like aren't super familiar with like 8 bars, 4 bars, blah 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 blah, I feel like this is gonna be so confusing, and I'm sorry. But yeah, new flow. Let's just go over this bass really quick. So you can probably imagine what this is. It's just the same bass that we kind of went over, but yeah, different like LFOs and shit, and it's a parallel, so there's the sub is like inside of the patch, and it's like a pitching like gun bass sub, which I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with. Yeah, it's the same bass. It's just the level of that oscillator B is more of a percussive gun shape. And it just works well. And it's like literally all the same processing. So yeah, I just wrote kind of like a new flow. And it's a little off grid, and it goes up like a half note. Or it goes up 1 note, I guess. Half step is what I meant to say. So yeah, and then there's the resampled bass here, and it's doing like a little step note thing to make that transition, whereas the transition in this part sounds like this. So the bass is doing that now. So yeah, you probably get the idea. So for the elements that are going on in the synths group, we have like the main vocal. So I don't know if that's, yeah, this is pitched down, so. And this is these are our chord stacks. Which I think is made up of like one main one. Nexus. Which is like a detuned layer. Like a mono lower one. Yeah, and I think this is just like a saw sub. Yeah. And then I have this mid-side thing compressing the sides and the mono signal to kind of make them, I don't know, just bring up the dynamics and stuff. There's this EQ that's going up as the buildup happens. There's washout. So some of this stuff is just like automation buildup stuff. I'm not exactly sure what the spectral compressor is doing. I think it's sidechain compression with the vocal. So these duck as the vocal, so that the vocal can come through the chords. So maybe if I try and like show an example of this. So to be honest though, it doesn't even seem like this is on. Which one is it on? 34. This is 36. Yeah, okay, that's not even doing anything. Because this is sent to the wrong like sidechain thing. Like it would be working if I did it to this, but so you can hear what that does, but it wasn't even being used in the final, so I don't know if I messed that up or yeah, or what, or I just didn't want it, but basically, yeah, those are like all the intro elements that are being used in the drop. I think this is maybe like a resampled, no, this is just like, yeah, okay, it's just the original like vocal, but is it pitched down? Yeah, pitched down 1, maybe just to get it in key. Yeah, then we probably have like the resampled lead from the intro. Where is that? Resampled lead from the intro in the drop, kind of as like an alarm. So there. I'll just resample that. Put it there. I do not really know what this is. Sounds great though. Actually, I do fuck with that. So, there's a lot of background stuff there. Then we bring back in the vocal job. Yeah. Yeah. Let me bring back these melodies that are from the intro. So that's the nice thing about making intros like this, and how I was like able to write the song so fast, is like I find this vocal that I like. I write some chords for it. I lay over this like melody. And then you basically like have your drop kind of, or you at least know how like the transitions and phrases of your drop are gonna like end, because you just bring them back here. You just tie the whole thing together. You know? So that makes the songwriting process like really fun for me. I have this giant riser that just like goes for forever. Sorry if that hurt your ears. But yeah. Shout out fucking Panda Eyes. Pretty sure I found this plugin from him. Yeah, this thing is awesome. It's like so cute, and like, yeah, it's just called Peach by Synth or some shit. Sounds awesome. So that's the subtle stuff. We're kind of just like moving into like going over the intro now, just because like the intro elements and the drop elements synth wise are like, you know, they're just all tied together. So that is just the synths resampled with like reverb. This thing is sick. I don't remember how I made this, but I think it ends up sounding like it sounds like a break-in, one of the break-ins song pads. I forget which song. If you somehow know what break-in song I'm thinking of, you're a legend. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it starts to like pitch down. Yeah, pitch up. Yeah, that thing is awesome. I had no idea how I made that. I totally forget. With this thunder that I recorded. And then it just goes into some noir ambience, because his is really good too. Really good stereo in these recordings. Some birds. So yeah, that's just like adding noise and just putting noise super low volume under everything. Yeah, this intro's so simple, and it just sounds full because of like the chords. So literally that's all that's going on. Let's go over the drums. I feel like the drums are actually like really good in this song, and that helps it a lot. This is a Nasco clap and a sampler. Nothing special going on there. This is a kick from my upcoming pack, the pack will probably be coming out after the EP. It's kind of the idea. But this kick is really good. I don't know if it's the main kick that I used. It's not. So I use this kick for the intro, I guess, because it has kind of some high end and it's not like too punchy. Because I want the kick and the drop to be like more insane than the kick in the intro. So this is what we got going on in the build-up. This is some sick shaker loop from Zenith. Shout out Zenith. Legendary. Yeah. Just some build-up drums and shit. And we have just a bunch of FX stuff helping that out. Let me go over the little fill that takes us into the buildup. Except I don't really know if I'm going to be able to like properly go over it because I don't remember how I made it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's like a glitch one shot, so it's like definitely made in another project. I thought that was I thought I made that by like just resampling the drop and putting it with like shaper box. But if you watch the videos, you probably see me make something like that before with shaper box. Yeah, that's not even turned on, so. Alright, anyways, let's go over the drums in the drop, because this is the highlights. This is like the shiz. Yeah, this kick just sounds really good. Has a lot of high end. I'm using this, if you know the song Internalize that I released like 3 years ago, this is the kick transient from that song. So, yeah, I use that kick transient in a bunch of stuff just because it's like a really good transient. So I put that kick transient on top of this kick. And it just sounds really clicky and messed up. And then we have an open hat from Noir, which sounds pretty mono. I don't have mini meters open. Let me open that. Yeah. It's pretty equal, actually. This, which definitely has good stereo. I really like that stereo. I'm just looking on mini meters, because this is, the top one is mono, the bottom one's stereo, as far as like the waveform. That's a really good way to check like mono volume versus stereo volume. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. It's really just to like, do not overcomplicate your drums. Like, just get good samples, and you know, I might be biased because I made these, but like, I think they're pretty good. So yeah, I just don't I don't process them at all. There's literally nothing on this kick. There's nothing on this kick. There's a high pass on this transient, and then there's nothing on the drum group. So this kick is just totally raw. Like, I just want my like drums to be like raw, like synthesized, like sine waves, that are like, you know, half good. It's all about like the pitch envelope, and then just like the noise kind of that's on top of them, which kind of functions right here as like this stuff. So, and the only processing I'm doing on these is like, I'm making this hat more stereo with comb filter, because I think it's just mono before, and then I'm high passing it and shaving it a little bit, and then same with this one, putting a little bit of reverb on it and making it stereo with the comb filter and just EQing it. So yeah, the main thing to notice, I'm not like saturating and I'm not like compressing. And I feel like that's the thing that people mess up with their drums a lot, is like they get their drum samples that might be like okay, and then they, you know, try to process them to make them better, and it just like messes them up. And then which I like was guilty of a billion times, because, you know, you have to learn, learn and make it complicated before you learn how to make it simple, I guess. So yeah. Clap is a bunch of stuff. So let's talk about the processing on the entire group first, because this is how I'm like layering all of them. I'm saturating them all together, and then I have it on soft sine, and then I have the depth up and the frequency at like 200. So I'm like attenuating that specific like frequency range. So you can get a sense of that. And then, but I'm putting it here. And it kind of gives like a nice high end, I feel like. I don't know. It's a subtle difference though. Yeah. This frequency shifter is doing nothing. I don't know why it's there. And I'm boosting up the high end a little and then taking down 5.7 for some reason. Couldn't really tell you why I did that. The layers, I'll have like this bottom layer that's froopy, which is like just very much adding like noise. This is a Vengeance clap that I pitched down 440 hertz with a frequency shifter and then added like lows. I think this is basically to add like lows in the clap to make it sound kind of thick, so it's not just like just a high end clap. So that's that idea. This is a Gorilla T clap that's like super snappy from his Patreon. Like, holy shit, that is snappy. There's like just a bunch of transients in there. Makes it sound like really weird. And then the Muerte clap on top of all that to kind of tie everything together. Because I think it would sound really weird without the Muerte clap. With like how snappy this is. Actually still sounds really good. I don't know. Yeah, you get a little more 1K with the Muerte clap. Anyways. Just chuck a bunch of layers together and EQ them and, you know, line them up how you want. And yeah, and they're all like they're all offset by this little margin so that I can get this, I can smack this kick transient in here. And then like after the kick transient, all the clap transients hit. So it's just like this really snappy like impact. Yeah, sounds really good in context. If we really like listen to it. So, yeah. That's the clap, and I'm saturating the clap. I like to saturate claps, you know. That's fine, because it's just like high-end stuff. But you don't want to saturate the stuff that you want to keep pure, like your snare bodies or like kicks. But that's just like my opinion. Like you can, if you know how to like compress really well and not like destroy stuff, you can, yes. But I don't know how to do that, man. I wasn't built like that. I was not classically trained on how to use a compressor. I just like chuck OTT on everything and... No, just kidding. I kind of know how a compressor works. But, you know, just keep it simple. And I resampled the clap. Resample the clap to make this little like fill. So, yeah. And then there's just a bunch of cymatics toms. Kind of cringe. Not gonna lie. And then we have like another like more hats under this. I feel like I use this lower group for like the noisier hats and like the crashes and stuff, and they'll have like a slight sidechain on them. So yeah, you can see this compressor sidechain going, and it's just routed to that internalized transient, because that thing's super short, so it's really easy to set the compressor to like duck for a very short period of time, so that doesn't like collide with the kick. So yeah, I have like the non-sidechain hats that are kind of like the mains, or they're more like shaker ones, or like tambourines, I guess. And then I just have like the noisy ones. And crash is here. Super standard. So yeah, I feel like the kick in the song is just really good, and that's like what I like the most about it. Yeah, the kick just sounds crazy, honestly. Like it's just a very intense kick. And then you go into the bridge, and I think, yeah, it's the same kick, but it just doesn't have that internalized transient, but it sounds really good. Then it sounds like, you know, less intense. So Jesus, I'm blowing out my candles. So yeah, when it goes to this more, like the kick just feels softer. But it's still like fat and stuff. So yeah, what else is there to go over? This is definitely like the simplest project on the EP. Especially considering that I wrote it in like a day. Like I kind of just went to the second drop and I had an idea for like a melody. Cuz the first one's like ba-bum bum bum and the second one's just like wum 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 wum. So it's a different pattern and it's kind of a melody. Yeah. And I just pitched down the last note. Yeah. And it just came together like that. It's nice. Yeah. Man, this project is really simple. There's some vocals that we could go over. Check. It's just an Afu Raw song. Check. Called Whirlwind Cities. Check. And there's this processing where I have this pitching plugin, pitching the sample up one semitone, and then I just keep it the same. So I'm duplicating the signal, and that makes it sound really like detuned. Check. And then I have a dimension expander to make it sound wide. And I'm pretty sure that I watched like a Joe B video ages ago and kind of like copied that processing from him. Check. What? Yeah, we have these whats, which I think work really well. Here's the build-up vocal.
Lyrical style ain't what it used to. Microphone check 1 2. I hit that.
And that's like resampled, I guess, from that upper channel. So, yeah. Damn. How long have we been going for? 52 minutes. Yeah, this project is so simple. This will definitely be like the shortest video. But I hope you guys like learned something, and if you have any like if you have any questions about like this project that I didn't go over, let me know, and I will like just tell you everything that you want to know, basically. I don't know. I don't think there's any other elements in this intro though. Like, what is this? Oh yeah, there's like a Barely Alive pad sample. Just like layered. Yeah. I really like that melody, and that's basically it, dude. If you're still watching, I appreciate you. And tell your producer friends about this video if they want to learn how I made this song and see some quarter note dubstep stuff that's like super simple. What else? I don't think there's anything else. Like the mixing of this song is just, I mean, you guys know the way that I mix probably. I just send everything to a volume shaper and trigger it, and that's all good. I'm actually curious because I didn't shave off the, I mean, okay, like video is basically over. If you're still hanging out, you're a fucking legend, but like I'm just going to go over this for my own curiosity real quick. I had the kick like this, like I didn't like cut it and like, you know, make it a very specific length, which is what I usually do. So I was kind of thinking like, is this colliding like with the sidechain? Because so if I solo the sidechain though and then resample it, I'm kind of curious. Like it is basically. It basically is, and that's probably gonna come together with this and phase cancel a little bit. So, oh well. That's a bummer. But also not really. It's like barely noticeable. I think it sounds great. Let me know if you think it sounds great. I love you all. I'm going to be releasing, you know what, if you're still watching, I'm going to be releasing this song in about 2 weeks. So here's a little previous.
You better go.
Yeah. All right. Peace out. Hope you learned some shit.